I talk to people all the time who tell me they want to create a digital product, but they have no idea what to sell. And almost every time, just by listening to them talk, I can actually hear the product. I can hear the digital product from what they describe. It's already in their heads. And it's in the way that they explain how they organize their classroom. Let's say if they're a teacher, or it's in the systems that they build to onboard new employees if they work at a company or their own business, or it's in how they help their clients to calm down before a big presentation. Let's say, for instance, they're a coach or some kind of consultant. If you spent years getting good at something, you can absolutely turn that into a digital product because what you know is genuinely useful to people who haven't figured it out yet. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's get into it. What does it mean to turn your knowledge into a digital product? Turning your knowledge into a digital product means taking something that you already know how to do well and organizing it into a format that someone else can learn or use on their own. That's it. That format could be a workbook, it could be a mini course, it could be a set of templates, it could be a video, it could be a PDF. You're not inventing something new. You don't need to go back to school. You don't need to get a new certification. You're taking the experience that you already have, that you've built up over the years, either at your job or at home or hobbies that you have, and you're putting it into a structure that would make sense for someone who's a few steps behind you. That's it. That's the whole idea. You take what you know, put it into a structure, and give it to someone who's just learning. Why people overlook what they already know. Now, here's the part I want to spend a minute on because I think it's where most people get tripped up. The things that we are good at, they start to feel invisible to us because when you've done something long enough, it becomes second nature and it stops feeling like expertise and it starts feeling like common sense, right? You forget that the way that you may plan your budget or the way that you break down a complicated topic for your students, or maybe you have a mental checklist that you run through before every meeting that you have with a client. Those things may have taken you years to develop, or it probably took some time before you got your rhythm or that it became like your method of doing something. So now those things are just kind of second nature to you. And I catch myself doing this too. I'll explain something about course design that feels just completely obvious to me. Course design is my field, that's my expertise. And the person I tell it to will say, wait, that's so helpful. I never thought about it that way. That gap between what you feel is common sense and second nature and what somebody else says, I would have never thought about it that way, that gap right there, that's where your digital product lives. So if you've been waiting for some big idea to strike and you thought about, hey, I want to create a digital product, but I need a really cool idea. You don't need that gap where something that comes like that to you and somebody else has to think about it, that's where your digital product lives. So, how do you figure out what knowledge is worth packaging into a digital product? I have a whole section on this part of the process. It's called the ideation stage. It's in my school community called the Second Act Community. It's for women who want to create their first digital product to sell online. And in this community, I walk you through the whole process from coming up with the idea all the way to launching your product. But that very first stage, the ideation stage, starts with paying attention to what people ask you about. Not what you think they should ask you, but what they actually do ask you over and over and over and over again. Those repeated questions, they're signals to you. They're telling you that you figured out something that other people are still trying to work through. So, here are 4 prompts, and I want you to write these down. I find these really helpful when I'm trying to pull out an idea. Okay, here they are. What do coworkers or friends come to you for help with? What's a process you've built for yourself that saves you time or stress? What's something that you end up explaining to new people more than once? And here's my favorite. Three, four, four. If okay, here's my favorite. Wait, that's three, four. If someone sat next to you for a week, what would they want to write down? They just sat next to you at your job, at home, wherever for a whole week. What would they want to write down? So, seriously, spending 15 minutes with these questions, that workflow that you cobble together, an onboarding checklist, a method for managing a caseload, how you manage your household budget, all of that is potential digital product material. Once you've landed on an idea, the next people get stuck on is the format. And I get it. There are a lot of options out there, but here's a simple way to think about it. Okay, we're going to try with the fingers again. Let's see what happens. If your knowledge is step by step and action oriented, try something like a workbook or a checklist. If what you know is more visual or demonstration based, try short videos or screen recordings. If what you sorry about the thumbs up. If it's reference material that you know that you're really good at, that people will come back to again and again, then try using something like a guide or a set of templates. And I don't want you to think that, I'm telling you this because I don't want you to think that you have to build a full course straight out of the gate, because a lot of people are saying create a course on what you know. One of the best ways to do this is to start small when this is your first time. A focused workbook was always going to be my first recommendation. Everyone knows how to use a workbook. Some people, if you make a course, and especially if your audience is a little older, they don't always know how to access the course. They don't know how to log in. They don't know how to move through the course. You want to make it as accessible as possible. Everyone knows how to use a book. You can make a template pack. So if you're really good at something in Excel, make a template out of it. Let's say, for instance, you are really good at resumes and you had a resume format that always won you the job. That's in a Word document. Make that a template. You can make a quick start guide. That's even easier than a workbook. You just type up a few pages and PDF it, and then there's your product. Those smaller products let you test your idea, get feedback from your customers, and then you start building your confidence before you begin investing more time, more energy into something bigger. Your customers are going to let you know what it is that they need from you. If you didn't have what they needed, they're going to let you, they're 100% going to let you know this didn't have what I needed. Okay. Do you need to be an expert? And I want to address this one. I'm going to stop doing that. I keep getting a thumbs up. I want to address being an expert, because the word expert sometimes trips people up. You don't need to be the world's top authority. You don't need to be a genius. You only need to be just a few steps ahead of the person you're helping. And that is actually a lower bar than what it sounds. But I'm being very honest with you. If you got started with something and you were able to get started, guess what? There are people behind you who haven't gotten started. So now you're in a position where you can help people get started. You don't have to do anything advanced. You don't have to go get a degree or anything. You got started. Now help other people get started. If you've been a nurse for 20 years, then you know things about talking to patients that a nursing student would probably pay to learn. So if you were a middle school teacher, let's say, for instance, for about 10 years, you probably developed your very own classroom management strategies that a first year teacher will find incredibly helpful. So even let's say, for instance, at your job, that you managed a team through a difficult transition. Maybe they brought on a new computer system and everyone hated it. Or maybe they told you they wanted you to start doing things from the old way to now doing the new way. Maybe AI has come in and people panicked and freaked out. And if you were able to say, okay, we're going to get through this as a team, that experience has real value to someone that's probably facing it for the first time, especially first time managers. What if you're not sure anyone would pay for your product? And that's fair. I ask myself this question too, and that's called imposter syndrome. Before you spend weeks building something, let me take that back. I don't want to say weeks because just a few minutes ago I told you to keep it simple. Simple shouldn't be weeks. Again, join us in the community. We will help you get that done much faster if you feel like it's going to take you weeks. Before you spend time work creating a product, creating your digital product, just do a little bit of detective work first. I call it detective work. Search your topic on Google, on Pinterest, Etsy, and see what's already out there. And if there are people selling products in your topic area, that's a good sign. It's not a reason to back off. It means that people want it. People are looking for that kind of information. Now, you can also, while you do your detective work, look at online communities or Facebook groups where you think people who may want to buy your product hang out. What questions they keep asking? What are they frustrated about? If you have answers to those frustrations, then you're onto something. So the goal isn't to wait for absolute perfect certainty to say, I'm 100% sure that this product is needed. That's not what you want. What you're looking for is just a signal that you feel comfortable starting with something small, and then you can always adjust it once you get it in front of a few people. Now, where do you start? Once you have an idea, what do? Right? Well, once you can name the thing that you know other people need, the next step, very simple. Write down the main result or outcome that someone will achieve with your product. So say, for instance, you're making an ebook. After reading my ebook, people will be able to do XYZ. That's it. After, when people use my checklist, they will be able to finish XYZ. Write it down. That's your main result or outcome. And then list 3 to 5 key steps or concepts that they need to get there. And that's your outline. So to get to XYZ, they need to do A, B, C, and D. And that's your outline. Put all that into whatever the product is that you're creating. You don't need any fancy software for this part. Use a notebook, a Google Doc, use voice memos on your phone. And I find that talking it out loud is sometimes easier than writing it down, especially when you have a whole bunch of stuff in your head and you need to make it into a focused product. So if you have a lot of many decades and decades like me, decades and decades of information, it's going to be hard to try to figure out what's needed in order to put it into a simple product. So it's fine. And blank page syndrome is a real thing. If you open up a empty doc and try to start creating it, you may not be able to. So just try to outline it first, okay? So if anything in this video made you think, okay, I might have something, and that's your signal, I want you to join me in the Second Act community, and I can walk you through every step of building your first digital product, from pulling the idea out of your head to choosing the format and getting it ready to sell. And I'll put the link in the description. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe. I post videos about digital products, workbooks, building a knowledge-based business on your own terms, and I'll see you in the next video.